Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video. I haven't done these in a long while, but I am gonna try and finish these. These AFL 2022 season review videos. Sometime this week. Try and finish these off. I was meant to finish these off about a month or so ago, but of course, I've said a lot of times with work and other stuff, I haven't been uploading videos, so I'm going to try and basically try and finish off this this season review before we head into the draft, basically. So in this episode, I'll be focusing on the review on the Melbourne Football Club season for 2022. As we all know, so we'll get straight into it. So last year, as we all know, they won the flag. As we all know, last year they finished minor premiers. They won. They stormed everybody in their way until end up winning the grand final. They finished top four again this year. They finished second. And after basically, of course, or led to them. Of course, that 10-0 start pretty much had them on the front foot, basically, and basically set up their season a little bit. But then the back half of the season really did. It didn't go their way. I mean, the finals. I mean, they lost to Sydney in the qualifying final, and as we all know, they ended up losing, bowing out in straight sets in the semi-final to Brisbane, in the finals as well. So we'll go into the highlight. The highlight of the year, and that was them winning their first 10 games. Albeit, their first 10 games, only two of those sides they beat in those first 10 games had competed in the 2022 finals, and that was in round 1 against the Western Bulldogs and in round 6 against Richmond. And then other than that, of course, they beat Gold Coast, they beat Hawthorn, St Kilda, and then other terrible sides on the way, like GWS in round 5, West Coast North Melbourne in rounds 9 and 10. And then of course other decent sides as well, like Gold Coast in round 2 and Port Adelaide in round 4, and then Essendon. We did not want to go into that unfortunately. We don't want to go into that. But they really did finish off strong after and carried their momentum from, of course, winning the premiership in 2021, and of course, I think they went through. I think they were unbeaten after. I think they didn't win a game. They didn't lose a game in 2021 after round 17. So I think if you do the quick math, that's like won their last 6 games in 2021. They included the grand final, and then they had, what was it? I think it was like 16 or 17 in a row, I believe. And which ended, of course, in that shock loss to Fremantle in round 11. And then speaking of their highlights, their low light, I probably could have put the Fremantle game, and I probably could have put, them being out in straight sets. But all around, I put their form after their first 10 games in there. I mean, their form in the back half of the season was not good at all. I mean, they did beat sides that they should have. They bet Adelaide, they bet Port Adelaide, and then of course that big win against Carlton when they were going to be down with, they were going to lose with like 20 seconds to go, and then Cozzy Pickett kicked the goal with like 10 seconds left to win them the game. They they had, and also they had big wins as well. They had 2 big wins against Brisbane. They had the big win against Fremantle. But they had struggles as well. Like they got beaten. They got beaten twice by Collingwood. They got beaten by Geelong, and then they got beaten in the second encounter against the Western Bulldogs. So, and then ultimately culminated in them being knocked down in straight sets. So, and of course, their record, of course, from rounds 1 to 10, it's extremely obvious. I don't need to get into that 10-0. But after that, they had a record of 6 wins and 8 losses, and many journalists and experts in the AFL, Melbourne proved it. If you're unbeaten after round 17 onwards, it is a fair indicator of where you are, where you should be. If you're in the top 4, then round 17, your form from round 17 to 23, says that you that form could either say you're in premiership contention, or simply you're not. You're a pretender. Simple as that. Simple as that. And they did not get beaten, Melbourne, after round 17 last year. But this time they got beaten twice. They got beaten twice against the Bulldogs and Collingwood. So in that time, and the record all round after being 10-0, 6-8, that is not a side. You cannot win a premiership with with inconsistency like this. I mean, yes, when they were 10-0 and we all thought they were unbeatable, but you can't win a premiership with a record after round 10 such as this. You just cannot. It cannot happen like that. And to be fair, looking back at it now, it wasn't surprising that Sydney beat them in the qualifying final, and then of course Brisbane got over the top of them in the semi-final. So it was a season of 2 halves really for Melbourne. I mean, a fantastic start to the year, unbeatable start to the year, and then tailing off towards the end of the year. They did. Don't get me wrong. They did have their high points throughout that time. As I said, when they twice smashed Brisbane, they smashed Fremantle over there at Perth, over at Optus Stadium. But other than that, no real high points really. I mean, they should have lost. Looking back at it now, they should have lost the. Looking at this now, that the most daunting part about this is if you take the Carlton win out of it, because obviously they were behind with seconds left. If you take that out of it, for example, that Cosy Picker goal didn't happen, I know what the old saying is, anything can happen in those 10 seconds. Anything could have happened. But what if if Carlton did hang on to win that game by a point, we possibly could have seen the same thing, except it was going to be a Sydney home game. It would have been a Sydney home final instead of being at the MCG. So that is pretty big. And that record would have been 5-9. It would have made it even more worse. But it turned out they did get over the line and win that game as well. So it was a pretty disappointing end of the second half of the season. As I said, tale of a season of 2 halves really for Melbourne. As I said, an unbeatable start to the year, but then a disappointing end of the year, pretty much in culminated with them being knocked out in straight sets. Marking them out of 10. I was close to giving them a 7.5 out of 10 because of the top 4 finish and all that, but because of them being knocked down in straight sets, and we all predicted them to possibly make it back-to-back flags, I put it 7 out of 10. Disappointing end of the season. As I said, everybody expected them to win the flag, and it's for some fans probably this might be a bit harsh. Maybe say, oh, do put him 7 out of 10 or maybe 8 out of 10, but I'd put him at 7 out of 10 because of obviously with them being knocked out in finals in knocked out in straight sets in the finals. To the players, the first player we'll talk about is Clayton Oliver, who's had a fantastic season. He's really become now one of the more elite players of this competition. Elite midfielders of this competition now, not just midfielders but players now of this competition. I mean, he's pretty much, if look at my statistics here, he's elite everywhere. He's averaging 32, averaging under 33 disposals a game, under 18, just under 18 contested possessions a game, 15 kicks a game, 8.7 clearances per game, 451 and a half meters gained per game, and 7 score involvements per game. So that is big really, for someone big. And it's rare to see someone who's elite in all of these statistics: disposals, contested possessions, kicks, clearances, meters gained, and score involvements, and other attributes as well, statistical attributes as well for midfielders. Probably he's elite probably in some of those too that I just haven't mentioned. But he's had an unreal season really as Clary, and really no doubt about it, he'll be contender for the Brownlow medal next year again. No doubt about it. There's no doubt he will contend for the Brownlow next year. No questions asked really, and if he keeps up these, then at some point he will end up with the Charlie around his neck. It will happen next year. Who knows? But yeah. And another player I want to talk about is, of course, Christian Batraka. As we all know, he came into 2022 with that fantastic game in the grand final, winning the Norm Smith. With his 39 touches and 2 goals. He was just unbeatable, really, in the grand final. I said to myself, what if Batraka could produce this? I watched all that 2021 grand final live last year. And I thought to myself, if Batraka plays like he did all game, all season, he'll have a Dustin Martin-like season. No doubt about it. No doubt about it, he'll have a Dustin Martin-like season he did in 2017. He didn't do that, but at the start of the year, like, he was close. I mean, this year, he's averaging 28 touches a game, 12.7 contested possessions a game, tick under 15 kicks per game, 4.6 clearances per game. The only stat where he wasn't in the elite level of. 501.2 meters gained per game, and 8.3 score involvements per game as well. I did tip him to win the Brownlow at the start of the year. It didn't fester out that way, but I hope that he takes more steps next year, and hopefully he can contend for the Brownlow again, alongside with his teammate Clayton Oliver as well. No doubt both Oliver and Batraka will contend for the Brownlow again if they do, if Melbourne are high up there again. For Melbourne. Finally, we move to who is under pressure. And I've come to the conclusion it's their forward line, and he is the telling statistic here. So the key backs, their backline best in the competition, no doubt. With Lieber, May, Petty, all these guys as well, Salem as well, just to name a few. And then their midfield, I mean, as I said, Oliver, Batraka, Viney, Harms, Gorn, as well. It's just a fantastic midfield, and then their forward line is probably their weakest link. It's probably their weakest link. I mean, their key forwards. It's their biggest issue is their key forwards here. The top goal scorer was Bailey Fritsch, just like last year, who kicked 64. I think he kicked 65 goals last year. He kicked 55 this year. And their top two, and the second was Cosy Pickett with 41. Their next best key their best key forward was Ben Brown with 30 goals for the year. And he didn't play all that well most of the year. I mean, he started the season off really okay, but he didn't really. As the season went on, he just got worse really. Tommy McDonald, he didn't play for most of the year. And then Wiedemann, who of course has gone off to another club, that being Essendon, he kicked only 13 goals himself, but with limited opportunities. If your top two goal scorers who are medium to small forwards, and your best key forward has 30 goals for the year, that's not going to get you that far. It's not going to get you that far. And look at this. I'm surprised that they. I know they're more of a defensive team. With the strength that is their key backs. Said May, Lever, and May, Salem, May, Lever, Petty. All these guys, Hunt as well, who's also gone to another club. But the thing is, as I said, it's not going to get you that far. You need to have your key forward to kick at least, maybe if you want to contend for a premiership, at least 40 goals, at least. At the very least, if you want to become a premiership team. Looking at that is nowhere near that. I mean, it's unfortunate really for Melbourne. I hope that now with Wiedemann now off to another club, off to Essendon, and let's hope that Ben Brown really does pull his finger out this season and it really does. I think Melbourne should be at the point where they say stop with what we've been saying to you. Look at the footage from when you were at North Melbourne. We need to see that player. And we need you to mark the ball and kick bags of goals like you were at North Melbourne. I know that would mean that they'll make him predictable and make and have the midfielders target him more, be unpredictable. But he's struggling at the moment. And it's just unfortunate really for a man of Ben Brown's caliber to be struggling, and where he's carried a North Melbourne team that's been struggling for years on his back, and then now he goes to Melbourne, who's now won a premiership, and he's struggling there. So that is there. So I think more a point their forward line or their key forwards are the issue. It's the same with Fremantle in a lot of ways. I think they really do need to sort their forward line out, and perhaps possibly if they do, then they can go to the next level and have to win another flag. So that is pretty much it for this review, and pretty much it for this video. So Melbourne, of course, you know, going from, you know, premiership, going from winning the premiership, winning the minor premiership, winning the flag, to, of course, you know, going out and of course, being 10 and zip, to going being knocked down in straight sets. That was something that we did after round 10. That was something we did not expect really to see from Melbourne. So hopefully they do bounce back next year. So like this video. Share to anybody who is an AFL fan or a D's fan. Comment down below what were your thoughts on Melbourne's season. Was I a bit too harsh out of their mark out of 10? Do you think it was a 7? Do you think I was right giving them a 7 out of 10? Do you think I was wrong? Do you think I should have given them a lot higher? I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions. And one last thing, somewhere down there, is a big red button which is labeled subscribe. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later, and wherever you may be, may the sun or the moon shine on you.